Hello everyone, Nicktrust Gaming here. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my project that I made in my computer science class. I made this project back in 2023 of May, so a lot of things are a bit off, a bit broken from what originally was there. In this video, I'll show you my block code and how I set everything up. In Alice 2, you don't have to use any writing. You can just use block codes. And if you would like to download this, I'll leave it in the description below. I will also leave a link to where to download Alice 2. So to start off, this was a project. Now we could either do a music video or we can make a game. Obviously, I wanted to do something that was a bit more challenging. Not saying that animation isn't challenging, but definitely trying to come up with a game and make it work seems to be a bit more. If you look at my health and you see there's 100 next to it, but it's a little difficult to see because the health is overlapping. Since it's been about a year, I think that is a mistake of that. Updates and whatever to the software probably introduce some errors. So if you want to try learning some COS 101, then please stay tuned. Beginning this project, I wasn't sure what I was going to name it, but at the end I kind of figured it out. I named it 2 minutes to kill because we are given 2 minutes to present our project. Plus it was a zombie game, so it had to do with something like that. By clicking on world in the top left, you can see most of the methods that I've used. Starting off with the player health, this is a really important part. If you're making a game, there has to be a way to lose. So with this, I added health, and with health, you can add regeneration, you can add death, not only to the player, but also to the enemy. You would actually need something to come in range of the player. The enemy has to be in a certain range, or something has to be in the range. So whether it's the player coming to the ground for fall damage, or a bullet coming at a player to inflict damage, that is what I'm adding into this health section, not into the combat section, or in my case, bullet logic. So when players' health, the text reaches 0, everything gets disabled because upon death, the entire UI is disabled. The world will also have a speed of 0 after this, in case if you want to add credits or a death screen. With health, there's also another option, and that is adding cheats. So press key, enter the correct string. Once the correct string is entered, you are given 999 health. Technically, the variable is getting 999 repetitively. So pressing the slash key, as I set it for in the events, since it interacts directly with the variable and not the text, this means that it is not just for show. It actually works as a gun mode. Now, opposed to actually activating the cheat code, if I didn't activate the cheat code, this would happen. And that takes us to the next part. Now, that is UI and indicators. So the indicators are set up with the text, and when a player's text is a certain number, that is when the opacity of what is put in front of the camera is changed to a higher or lower opacity. So for a death screen, I want it to be the lower the health, the higher the opacity of the blood-like screen in front of the camera, which is just a transparent PNG. Moving on to the zombie logic, we obviously want the zombie to chase down the player, so here we have that. We also have the ability for the zombie to be killed, and then once the zombie is killed, the zombie is put back to where it spawned. To make it look nice, we make the zombie invisible first, then the zombie goes back to spawn. Now this is where the bullet interacts with the zombie. If the zombie is within range of the bullet, then the zombie will die. There's also a lot more to go through. For instance, the bullet that you shoot also has to somehow appear back in the gun as well. So there's a method for that. There's a method for the bullet travel direction, the trajectory, which is the crosshair. I made it the crosshair. The bullet will travel to the crosshair. Doing it any other way somehow made the bullet flip in different directions when coming out of the barrel of the guns when firing your second bullet, or for the second time and third, fourth, fifth, and so on. So if you do put the world in slow motion while shooting, you can see the bullet following the crosshair. A lot of other stuff is just animation as well, like making the zombies move, the gun slider. Having recoil for the gun is actually a little different. I just used an animation to move the hand when pressing the trigger trigger, so that way your hand moves, and that way the gun also moves because the gun is the vehicle of the hand. So it basically goes, the hand is holding the gun is holding the bullet, and that's how I set them as vehicle properties. And if you think about it, it seems pretty logical. A lot of this is thinking logically and having the patience to go step by step. So definitely thinking ahead of time and pre-planning. There's probably a bunch of things I'm missing, like boundaries and such. Using a program like this with like PlayStation 1 graphics definitely made it difficult because it's not modern. The controls are not modern, but it is definitely easy to understand once you start using it. Do keep in mind that you have a resource limit in this. Even if it doesn't show you, you can go in the settings and set that. Using custom assets like I did in this project, you can convert different OBJ files into ASE files. Going back to collision, there is no collision, so if you wanted collision, you would have to make something yourself to set the bounds. So for now, that's pretty much all I have. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.